He's back! Shane Van Gisbergen announces he's returning to NASCAR at what is shaping up to be a star-studded Indianapolis road course event. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Big breaking news late last night if you're like me and you live here in the United States. But if you live in Australia, this news broke early this Thursday morning. Fresh off his historic, dramatic NASCAR debut and victory at the Chicago street race, three-time Australian V8 Supercars champion Shane Van Gisbergen is back for more. SVG tweeted, coming back to NASCAR at Indy with Project 91 next month. Maybe I'm misremembering this, but I thought Justin Marks said recently that Project 91 was shelved for the rest of this year. Trackhouse dropping a bomb on us just in time for Oppenheimer opening weekend. Huge news, very exciting news that also continues to disprove a recent theory I had. I was oh so wrong. I don't remember exactly when I said this. It was a few months ago. But I talked a little about, how we've maybe moved past the road course ringer era of NASCAR with guys like Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., Tyler Reddick, AJ Allmendinger, and others honing their craft. There was virtually no way for ringers to come in and be competitive. Sure, we've still seen some road course ringers in recent years, like Kimi Räikkönen last year. It was decent. Jenson Button earlier this year was okay, but neither driver seemed to have the speed to compete with the top NASCAR regulars. The road course ringer was going extinct because modern NASCAR drivers were far better road course racers overall than previous generations. But since I made those comments, I think a mixture of Shane Van Gisbergen and the next gen car have called that theory into question. Because right now, the Verizon 200, the Indianapolis road course race, is shaping up to be what IROC could only dream of. Shane Van Gisbergen, driving for Trackhouse, is a three-time Australian Supercars champ. Kamui Kobayashi is a Le Mans winner, a World Endurance champion. He's driving for 23XI. Jenson Button, I mentioned him a moment ago, a Formula One world champion, is expected to race for Rick Ware. Andy Lally, a five-time Rolex 24 Daytona class winner, will also drive for this week. Another Australian Supercars driver, Brody Kostecki, announced he would race for Richard Childress. And those are just the names that are confirmed. There's always a chance that, Connor Daly, local guy, IndyCar driver, could get the nod to drive like the 50. Jimmy Johnson, I know he had to pull out of Chicago for very understandable personal reasons, but could Jimmy Johnson, a seven-time NASCAR champ, make a start at Indy? The field could stack up even stronger than it already is all I'm saying. But this lineup already is absolutely incredible. I think Justin Marks, owner of Trackhouse, said it best when he tweeted yesterday. SVG running it back at Indy is awesome for Trackhouse, but as a racer and a passionate race fan, seeing him with Kostecki, Kobayashi, and Button in a NASCAR Cup race at Indy is the stuff of dreams. I freaking love this sport, and being a fan of it during these times, pinch me. It's a W for the global industry. NASCAR Cup drivers are some of the best I've ever seen. We're so lucky to see them race against some of the best from other disciplines. This is only the start. Auto racing has an amazing future, and I'm here for it. Boy, I'm not sure I could have said it much better myself, but to kind of echo Justin Marks' comments there about how this is huge for the global industry. This is only the start. I see these comments all the time from fans in my comment section, on Twitter, on Reddit. These comments from fans will be like, if NASCAR plays this right, it could be huge for the sport. And I'm sitting over here like, what does playing it right actually look like? I feel like the conversation around, how NASCAR should grow, how it should evolve, how it should change, has shifted very suddenly. Like just a couple months ago, we were hyping up North Wilkesboro Speedway as a beautiful, nostalgic return to NASCAR's simpler roots. The debate just a few months ago was whether or not, an oval race inside the LA Coliseum was too different, too jarring. Should NASCAR bring back Chicagoland Speedway or Kentucky since the new mile-and-a-half package is so good? That was the conversation not all that long ago. Now suddenly, we've got a F1 champion from Great Britain, stars from Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Finland, racing in and in some cases succeeding in the NASCAR Cup Series. Suddenly, NASCAR's in France, and Le Mans Garage 56 is a huge success, such a success that they brought the car to the Goodwood Festival of Speed in England. Montreal, Canada is expected to land a Cup Series date next season. Brad Keselowski recently said that the next street race should be in Europe. This is all happening so fast. Am I crazy? Am I the only one who feels this way? The conversation has shifted suddenly. But maybe, and I've been thinking about this lately, maybe this was the vision. This was the plan all along. It had to be, right? Jim France loves himself some sports cars. Everyone can see F1's domestic growth, bringing their international flair here to the States. NASCAR designed a new car that marries sports cars with Australian supercars. It's no surprise then that Shane Van Gisbergen and now Brody Kostecki from Australia coming over. It's no surprise then from the sports car world that, Kamui Kobayashi or Jordan Taylor have made starts. Jenson Button's made some starts. He's also driven the Le Mans entry, and he's publicly called on NASCAR to race in Europe. Bring the Cup Series overseas. We've heard reports from Sports Business Journal that NASCAR executives have had meetings in Europe, the Middle East, I think Asia, maybe a few other places. We're no longer talking about expanding to new markets within the United States. That's still important, see the Chicago street race. But now suddenly we're talking about expanding internationally. And the more I think about it, the more I think this was kind of NASCAR's goal or plan all along. All throughout the development of the next gen, working on the most recent few years of schedules. We still haven't gotten the 2024 schedule because I think NASCAR and Ben Kennedy and Steve Phelps are hoping it's the boldest schedule yet. I think this was their plan all along. And, like I said, it feels like it's happening so fast and very suddenly. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about it. Part of me is very excited. I've always wondered in the back of my mind if NASCAR would be better off, would be healthier, if they just hit reset and completely reinvented their brand and their style. Hear me out. You got to understand my perspective. I started watching NASCAR in 2004, and ever since, I've seen the TV ratings fall nearly every single year. I've seen the grandstands become more and more sparse nearly every single year. I've seen less and less merch. The drivers have become less and less recognizable. And I'm sick and tired of it. I have been emotionally invested in stock car racing for nearly 20 years. I want to see us tick up. I want to see a positive trend for once. I never have. Unless maybe you count the last couple seasons, things maybe trended upwards a little bit. But for much of my lifetime, NASCAR has been considered broken. It's needed fixing. So fix it. Do something radical. Let's get back to having fun. So part of me is happy to see NASCAR potentially commit to this route. For better or worse. But, there's a reason many people, everybody, fears change. For the most part, even throughout these 20 years, I've liked what NASCAR has been and what it's become. If they were to radically change the entire nature of the sport, what NASCAR is, that's risky. Some things I may like. Some things that I do like may go away. Some of the new things I may not like. I'm sure every fan can relate to that. I mean, NASCAR has changed quite a bit in the last 20 years, and obviously not everyone's liked every change. But if NASCAR shifted its focus towards expanding internationally, that would be a completely different shift than any change NASCAR's made in the last 20 years. And, it's risky. So that's why I don't really know how I feel about this. I think NASCAR could be very successful overseas if they continue to be unapologetically American. Big cars, loud noises, a little beating and banging, passion. That way us viewers here in the States can continue to relate, but new international viewers may be intrigued by this new exotic, bombastic racing series. I don't know. I know I'm just thinking out loud right here, and I think I'm getting way ahead of myself. It's just one race, but I guess the more I look at everything that's happened the past few months or even the last couple of years, it feels like this was always Jim France's and NASCAR's kind of goal, to capture the interest of star international drivers, to maybe capture the interest of international fans. The world is more global than ever. Other sports like the NBA is super global. Soccer, I still can't believe the stir that Messi coming to Major League Soccer in Miami has created. We'll see if maybe NASCAR can find a new place in this new worldwide sports and entertainment landscape. I went way down a rabbit hole there. I guess back to Shane Van Gisbergen, Project 91, Indianapolis, the road course race. This is going to be an interesting race for sure. Turn 1 is a terror. You know, Shane Van Gisbergen was really good at Chicago, but Chicago was so unique. No Cup Series driver had seen that circuit yet. Everyone was starting at square one. Factor in the weather, the damp conditions, single file restarts. I think that's key. And I think all the variables helped catch SVG up to the pack. And I think that's what allowed him to stand out. He has way more street racing experience than the rest of the Cup Series field by far. Now he's going to a track that the whole NASCAR field has a couple of races worth of experience at. It's not brand new like the Chicago street race was. Also, double file restarts will return. We saw it like Coda, how that roughed up guys like Jenson Button, Kimi Räikkönen, Jordan Taylor. My prediction is that Shane Van Gisbergen, Kamui Kobayashi, Brody Kostecki, most all these guys will be very fast in practice and qualifying, like top 10 speeds, top 15 speeds. But once the race begins and things get rough out there, I expect them all to fall back a little, and then maybe a couple of them. I would look at SVG first, considering how great he was at Chicago. Maybe a few of them start to bubble towards the top 5 or top 10 towards the end. And depending on how this plays out, if there are long green flag runs at the end, then maybe SVG could be in position for a top 5 or who knows, even a win. But if we get a bunch of late race restarts, my money's on the NASCAR regulars. My money's on the Joey Logano's, who wasn't afraid to bonsai into turn 1 here last year. My money's on Ross Chastain, who got real creative at the end of last year's race. And honestly, in my opinion, the more I look back at it, I think was wrongfully penalized. Tyler Reddick, of course, was unstoppable here last year. Didn't put a wheel wrong all day long. So if we get late race restarts, the NASCAR guys will dominate. But if long green flag runs and the field gets spread out, I look at SVG. I don't know much about Brody Kostecki. I think Kamui Kobayashi. I think a lot of these guys could put down some very quick and consistent lap times and might be a threat when it's all said and done. This race is still almost a month away though. Plenty of time to keep building up hype. Boy, I was so excited for Coda, Circuit of the Americas earlier this year because we had a couple former F1 champions in there. We had Jordan Taylor, IMSA fame. I thought that was awesome to see the international superstar crossover with NASCAR. This Indy Road Course roster blows that out of the water. So many different disciplines, different backgrounds, different countries, different champions converging on Indianapolis. Remember, IndyCar shares that weekend with NASCAR as well. So my gosh, that's become one of the most valuable weekend tickets on the circuit, in my opinion, at least. I hope those of you who go out there have a blast. Again, considering this may be the final Indianapolis Road Course NASCAR weekend for quite some time. Sounds more and more likely the Brickyard 400 will be returning, so enjoy it. It's going out with a bang, that's for sure. Anyway, share your thoughts down in the comment section below. How do you think Shane Van Gisbergen will do of all these, I don't know, can we call them road course ringers, I guess? Who do you think will fare the best on August 13th? I am looking forward to it. I've already marked it down in my calendar. I guess I have every NASCAR race marked in my calendar, but now I've circled it. I've circled it, starred it, highlighted it. I wouldn't miss that one for anything, but let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel or you love all things NASCAR. You're in the right place. And thank you to my Patreon supporters for your very generous support. I will be back again soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day, folks. Thanks again for watching.